Welcome back to Nonsensical Thoughts, the podcast where your curiosity wanders freely in the strange corners of history, mystery, and human behavior collide. I'm your host, Lee, and today we're diving into one of the most haunting, unsolved cases in America, in America. The story of the Zodiac Killer. But per usual, before we get started into the coded letters, shadowy ass suspects, and one of the most famous unsolved investigations ever, we want to thank the sponsors that help keep Nonsensical Thoughts alive. You know, my favorite, Bloom. Had to open it with a device. I can never open it by myself. So today's episode is brought to you by Bloom Nutrition and their refreshing Bloom Sparkling Energy. My favorite is the Glacier Freeze and the apple, I think it's apple crisp apple. Really good. I do want to get the Strawberry Sunrise because that's the strawberry cream one that I was thinking of. So if you're like me, sometimes you just need that little extra boost to get through your day, but not the heavy, sugary, headachy crash that comes with all the others. Bloom Sparkling Energy is designed to give you that clean lift with natural caffeine and ingredients focused on energy and wellness. It's crisp, refreshing, and packed with flavors that make it feel more like a treat than a necessity. So whether you're heading into a long work day, recording your own podcast, studying late into the night, or just trying to wake up your brain from a deep dive into this unsolved mystery, grab you a Bloom for that extra boost. Now let's get going into today's story. So the late 1960s in Northern California, it was a time of a cultural change. The countercultural movement was exploding with music festivals that were defining that generation, and cities like San Francisco were at the center of the social transformation. But behind all that optimism and cultural revolution, fear was growing. Between 1968 and 1969, there was a mysterious killer that began targeting younger couples in the remote areas around Northern California. So, you know, those weirdos off in the car, an abandoned park, those people. So the first confirmed attack, though, happened on December 20th, which you know it is cold as balls, in 1968 near Vallejo. It was two teenagers, both named David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, parked on a quiet road known as Lake Herman Road. Hey, look, I said the weirdos parked in a car. Call it like you see it. Someone approached their car. Moments later, gunshots shattered the silence. You know it wasn't silent, but neither here nor there. Both teenagers were killed. At the time, the investigators did have a few leads. No suspects, though, so no clear motive. They labeled it as just a tragedy. But months later, there was another attack. Sorry, my nose is running. Attack like the murders together. It would link. Oh my god, sorry. So a little later, actually quite a bit later, July 4th, 1969, there was another young couple, Darlene Farron and Michael Magoo. They were sitting in a parked car at a Blue Rock Spring Park. Apparently that is the thing to do. Sit in cars, weird places. We know what y'all was doing. A car pulled up beside them and the driver had got out and approached their vehicle. You know, they probably just thought they wanted help. And without warning, he opened fire. So Farron did die from her wounds, but McGay, I'm assuming that's how you say his name, but McGay, he survived. But what happened would shock the police. So 40 minutes later, someone had called the police, calmly reporting that there was a shooting, and then claimed responsibility for the previous murder as well. So not only to throw him for a loop, but hey, remember that one back in December when it's cold as balls? Yeah, that was me. So this is when they had first heard the name Zodiac. So he must have labeled himself. He was so proud. In August, so that's what, a month later? That's not even... Yeah, that's a month later. 1969. Oh, wait. Yeah, a month later. 3 newspapers received cryptic letters from someone claiming to be the killer. Those papers were the San Francisco Chronicle, San Francisco Examiner, and Vallejo Times Herald. Herald. I'm assuming it's Herald, because Herald kind of sounds weird. Each letter contained part of a coded message, and the writer demanded that the codes would be printed on the front page, or he would keep killing people. I guess my option would be to stop sitting in a park alone in a car. Anyway, the ciphers were fascinating to the public, so one of them was eventually solved by a school teacher and his wife. And the decoded message was pretty disturbing, I guess. It claimed that the killer was murdering people because he believed that they would become his slaves in the afterlife. Hell no. I ain't no slave. I already don't like participating in the work I gotta do now. Why would I want to do it for someone else? For free. Anyway, the most chilling Zodiac attack occurred in daylight this time. So this was, let's see, August, September. So a month later, on the 27th. So September 27th, near Lake Berryessa. I would stop living near places that have lakes, by the sounds of it. There was a college couple, and they were relaxing by the water. Their names were Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepherd. This dude had walked up, I guess, in a weird outfit, a black hood with a symbol on his chest, and the symbol was a circle with a crosshair. The man claimed to be an escaped convict and said he only wanted their car. After tying them up, he stabbed them both repeatedly. Hartnell survived. That was the dude, right? Yeah, the dude survived, and the girl died 2 days later. And I guess before leaving, the attacker had wrote a message on the victim's car door listing his previous murders and signed with the symbol he was wearing. He is proud of himself, huh? So the Zodiac's final confirmed murder occurred San Francisco on October 11th. It was a taxi driver. No, thank you. Sorry, Paul Stein. He picked up the passenger. And in the cab, the passenger shot him in the head. The killer calmly walked away. A bunch of people saw him, I guess. Yeah, because that's not weird, right? Police almost caught him, but a miscommunication led the officers to search for the wrong suspect. Zodiac vanished into the night, I guess. How do you miscommunicate that, though? I mean, hence the problems we still have today with miscommunication. So over the decades, investigators examined hundreds of suspects. One of the most infamous suspects was Arthur Lee Allen. Not me. Allen had matched several circumstantial details. He lived near the crime scenes. I'm sure a lot of people did. He owned a Zodiac brand watch with the same crosshair symbol, and he had a criminal record. But evidence linking him to the murders was never definitive. So they just, I'm assuming, harassed the man. Poor guy. Other theories had pointed to unknown individuals, secret identities, even possibility that the Zodiac may have died decades ago. So in 2020, which was what, 6 years ago? Yeah, 6 years ago. One of the Zodiac's letters was decoded. The 340 decipher. Well, I guess I don't even know what the first one was, unless that's the one they're talking about, I guess, right? No, because this one was deciphered by code breakers. Huh. But even that breakthrough didn't reveal the killer's identity. So that was 50 years later that we deciphered that one. Which means there's still one more. Someone better get to working on it. Someone better get to working. So before we close out today's special, we wanted to highlight an important organization doing life-saving work every day. That would be the American Red Cross. They rely on our volunteers and donations to maintain blood supply used in the hospitals across the country. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. And that could be an accident, cancer patients, surgery patients, even newborn babies. Donating blood is one of the simplest ways to help save lives. So if you've got the time, I don't want to say do the crime, although it fits in this situation, but if you would, that would be wonderful if you would consider donating, because this is a great time to do it. They are in dire need of O negative currently, but I know that they'll take anything. So if you visit the American Red Cross website or find your local blood drive, a single donation can help multiple patients. The story of the Zodiac killer does remain one of the most unsettling mysteries in criminal history. A killer who had taunted the public, who communicated through codes, who committed brutal crimes, and then disappeared. He was never caught, not even under a different name. So I guess, did he die without ever confessing? Or is it in that last one we didn't get deciphered? Or is it still hidden somewhere in the thousands of pages of investigative files? We may never know, but the mystery does continue to captivate investigators, historians, and us curious minds around the world. If you enjoyed this episode like this and want to help support Nonsensical Thoughts, don't forget to click the donation button where you listen to podcasts. Your support helps us continue researching stories, producing episodes, and bringing deep dives like this one to your life. Even small contributions help keep the show going, and we truly appreciate every single listener who supports this podcast. All right, our recipe, because we never forget one. It is Shepards Pie, bitch. It is a favorite meal in this household. I am a wiener, and I don't like ground lamb, so not for me. I use ground beef. I use 1 pound of ground beef, 1 onion, diced. I cheat and I use a can of peas and carrots. But if you feel like doing the hard work, you can go ahead and chop up 2 carrots and 1 cup of peas. I'm also lazy and I use garlic. I don't use real garlic, so 2 cloves of garlic or 2 tablespoons of garlic. That is 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I cheat, and honestly, I just put in a brown gravy mix, and I call it good. Cook it with the meat. If you feel like mashing the shit out of your potatoes, you have at it. But I'm cheating, and I'm using a bag. And we're going to make a bag of 4 cheese mashed taters. You do need a cup of shredded cheese. I like sharp cheddar. Turn that oven on 400. Cook your meat with your onion, your garlic, and when it's done, pour in that brown gravy. Add a little water and mix it in. And we're going to layer it in our pan. You're going to get your pan out. You're going to put your meat in first. Then you're going to put your peas and carrots. And I put my mashed potatoes on top, and then I layer it with cheese. Or you can do cheese, then mashed potatoes. Whatever floats your boat. I put it on broil, 15 minutes. Usually done. If you put it on 400, do it for 20 to 25. When it's bubbling and golden, you are done. So again, thanks for listening to Nonsensical Thoughts. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the strangest mysteries are the ones that remain unsolved.